Coffee has become more than just a beverage, it's a ritual, a pause button in the chaos of modern life. The smell of freshly ground beans, the first sip of warmth, the slight kick of caffeine, it's comfort, focus, and routine all in one. But what most people don't realize is that this comforting ritual can sometimes be quietly working against them. The truth is, not all coffee chains are created equal. Behind the glossy branding and cozy interiors, many of the biggest names in coffee have turned this ancient drink into a sugar-laced, chemical-infused concoction that's more dessert than coffee. The shift happened so subtly that most people didn't notice when their daily caffeine fix became a hidden health risk. Walk into almost any mainstream coffee chain and look at the menu. Rows of flavored lattes, fraps, and seasonal specials line the board, each one marketed as an indulgent experience. What they don't tell you is that many of these drinks pack more sugar than a soda. A caramel latte, pumpkin spice drink, or even a seemingly innocent iced coffee can contain upward of 50 grams of sugar, twice the daily recommended limit. Add the flavored syrups, whipped toppings, and sweetened creamers, and what's left in your cup is a blood sugar bomb wrapped in comforting branding. These drinks might deliver a short burst of energy, but within hours they lead to a crash that leaves you craving more caffeine and sugar, locking you into an unhealthy cycle that feels normal but isn't. Then there's the quality of the coffee itself. Most large coffee chains rely on industrial roasting methods that prioritize consistency and shelf life over nutrition. Over-roasted beans may look dark and strong, but they've lost many of the natural antioxidants that make coffee beneficial in the first place. To mask that bitterness, companies drown the brew in sweeteners and cream, hiding the poor quality of the base product. You might think you're sipping on rich, bold coffee, but you're really drinking a processed product designed for taste uniformity, not health. What used to be a natural stimulant for mental clarity and focus has turned into a heavily processed indulgence that often does the opposite, making you tired, bloated, and mentally foggy. Marketing plays a big role in the deception. Chains sell an image as much as a drink, the lifestyle of the on-the-go professional, the artist in a cafe corner, the student hustling through a study session. They use words like crafted, artisan, and premium. Even when the ingredients are mass-produced and far from pure, the illusion of quality is so strong that people equate brand familiarity with trust. Yet, when you look beyond the design and into the nutrition facts, the truth becomes clear: you're paying for a sugar rush, not sustained energy. This marketing sleight of hand keeps millions of people coming back every morning, unaware that the very thing they depend on for productivity might be dulling their focus and feeding fatigue instead of fighting it. Even the milk choices and add-ons contribute to the problem. Sweetened plant-based milks, flavored creamers, caramel drizzles sound harmless, but are often packed with emulsifiers, gums, and artificial flavors that disrupt gut health. For people sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations, these ingredients can cause mood swings, headaches, and digestive issues. The body ends up working harder to process what's supposed to be a simple morning drink. Over time, this daily strain can lead to higher inflammation levels and decreased energy, even if your diet seems otherwise balanced. The subtle part is that you never feel the damage immediately. It builds slowly, blending into the background of your daily routine. What makes this trap even more dangerous is how it disguises itself as normality. Society celebrates the coffee run culture. Grabbing a large latte before work or meeting friends over a flavored frappuccino feels like part of a balanced, productive lifestyle. But beneath that cultural ritual lies an overdependence on stimulants and sugar that rewires your body's energy balance. Instead of using coffee as a mindful tool to boost focus, people are using it as a crutch to offset exhaustion from poor sleep and stress. The coffee chains know this and tailor their products to that fatigue, giving temporary satisfaction while deepening the dependency. It's a business model built not on wellness but on repetition, the need for another cup, another hit, another purchase. Once you start paying attention, it's easy to see how deep the coffee trap runs. The colors, the seasonal flavors, the loyalty rewards, all engineered to make you associate pleasure and comfort with chemical-laden caffeine. It's not about your morning routine anymore, it's about the brand owning that ritual. The most ironic part: coffee, when pure and simple, is one of the healthiest drinks on earth. It's full of antioxidants, supports brain function, and boosts metabolism naturally. But somewhere between convenience and marketing, that purity got lost. Many of the coffee chains we trust have taken something inherently good and twisted it into a commercial product that satisfies cravings but starves vitality. What should have been a source of balance has become a subtle form of imbalance that millions unknowingly consume every day. The biggest coffee chains in the world have built their empires on the promise of consistency and comfort. They've made it effortless to grab a drink that feels familiar anywhere you go, but that convenience often comes at a steep cost to your health. Behind the clever marketing and Instagram-worthy foam art, many of these chains have turned what should be a simple, nourishing ritual into a cocktail of sugar, chemicals, and empty calories. These are the so-called dirty six. The coffee chains that might look like your best friend in the morning, but behave more like your worst enemy once you take a closer look at what's really inside the cup. Starbucks, the global giant, is perhaps the most striking example. It's the place most people associate with sophistication and taste, yet many of their signature drinks are closer to milkshakes than coffee. A grande caramel macchiato or a seasonal pumpkin spice latte can contain up to 60 grams of sugar, more than what's found in 2 cans of soda. The rich flavor that keeps customers hooked comes not from quality beans, but from layers of syrups, whipped toppings, and sweetened milk. Even their non-fat or light versions rely on artificial flavoring to mimic the original taste, tricking you into thinking you're making a healthier choice. What's even more deceptive is how the caffeine hides the fatigue and mood crash that follow the sugar spike, making you crave another cup just a few hours later. Dunkin', another major player, sells itself as the everyday person's coffee shop, fast, cheap, and cheerful. But that speed and affordability often mean shortcuts in quality. The flavor shots and swirls used in most Dunkin' drinks are highly processed and contain ingredients like propylene glycol, corn syrup solids, and artificial dyes. Their iced coffees are notorious for being sugar traps, with some medium-sized flavored versions surpassing 300 calories before any cream or topping is added. What's marketed as fuel for your day ends up being a short-lived energy burst that leads to hunger, irritability, and a mid-morning crash that sends you back in line for another round. Tim Hortons, the pride of Canada, has a wholesome image tied to community and comfort, but its coffee often hides a different story. Many of its menu drinks use powdered mixes and flavor bases instead of freshly brewed ingredients. Even the regular brewed coffee can sometimes have added flavor enhancers to maintain the same taste across thousands of locations. When it comes to their iced cappuccinos and flavored lattes, the sugar levels are staggering. What looks like a cool caffeine boost is often a sugar bomb that disrupts your metabolism and digestion, making your body work overtime just to process one seemingly harmless drink. McCafe, McDonald's coffee brand, tries to compete with the bigger coffee chains by offering a similar range of lattes and fraps at lower prices. But the trade-off is quality. The beans are usually low-grade and roasted in bulk to maximize shelf life, destroying many of the beneficial antioxidants naturally found in coffee. Their fraps and mochas are essentially coffee-flavored desserts, with fat and sugar levels that rival fast food milkshakes. Even a plain cappuccino there can come with pre-sweetened flavor mixes or creamers that add unnecessary calories and artificial ingredients. What you get is caffeine without the clarity, energy without the health, and a lingering aftertaste of additives that your body doesn't need. Caribou Coffee positions itself as an artisanal alternative to the big chains, yet their popular specialty drinks often betray that image. Their signature blends and mochas frequently contain heavy cream, caramel drizzle, and chocolate syrups that can push a single drink past 400 calories. Real ingredients they promote are often combined with additives like caramel coloring and emulsifiers that diminish the natural value of the coffee. What makes it more confusing is that they use words like crafted, handmade, and premium, giving you the illusion of health and authenticity while delivering more sugar than nutrition. Dutch Bros is the most deceptive of the bunch, especially for younger audiences. Their colorful drinks, friendly branding, and upbeat culture make it feel like a fun, harmless treat. But many of their most popular drinks, like the Golden Eagle or the Caramelizer, pack upwards of 70 to 80 grams of sugar, an entire day's worth or more. They even have energy drinks that blend caffeine with sugary syrups, making them dangerously addictive. The result is an instant rush followed by fatigue, dehydration, and cravings for more. The irony is that what's sold as high-energy coffee ends up draining your system faster than it fuels it. All 6 of these chains share a common flaw: sacrificed purity for profit. Instead of serving real coffee, just beans, water, care, they sell taste experiences engineered to trigger dopamine and cravings. It's not just about caffeine anymore, it's about manipulation. These drinks are designed to be habit-forming, not health-forming. They create a dependency cycle where your brain associates sweetness with comfort, caffeine with control, and branding with belonging. It's emotional marketing disguised as lifestyle choice. The deeper issue is that most consumers never stop to question what they're drinking. They trust the brand. They trust the familiarity. They ignore the warning signs: fatigue, anxiety, bloating, sugar crashes, because those effects have become normalized. People think they're tired because of life's stress, not realizing it's partly what's in their cup every morning. The dirty 6. Coffee chains thrive on that ignorance, building billion-dollar businesses on daily habits that slowly undermine people's energy, focus, and health. The worst part is that these drinks don't just affect your body, they affect your mind. The sugar highs and caffeine spikes trick you into thinking you're alert and productive, while underneath, your system is burning out faster than it can recover. Amid the noise of sugar-loaded lattes and corporate coffee culture, there are still a few chains that are quietly redefining what coffee is supposed to be. These aren't the flashy places pushing limited edition syrups or neon-colored fraps. They're the ones that treat coffee as a craft, not a commodity. They focus on simplicity, clean ingredients, and respect for the bean itself. For people who want energy without the crash, focus without the fog, a daily ritual that actually supports health, these are the coffee chains worth your time and money. They remind us that coffee, in its purest form, can still be one of the healthiest and most grounding parts of the day. Blue Bottle Coffee stands out as the model of minimalism and authenticity. Their entire philosophy revolves around freshness and purity, 2 things that most commercial chains have forgotten. Every cup is made from high-quality, ethically sourced beans roasted in small batches. There are no artificial flavors, no whipped toppings, and no sugary shortcuts. The result is coffee that tastes alive. You can actually feel the natural bitterness, the earthy undertones, and the clean energy that follows. It's not the kind of buzz that makes your heart race, it's the kind that makes your mind sharpen. Blue Bottle's focus on clean sourcing and sustainable farming also means you're not just drinking coffee. You're participating in a system that values both people and planet. It's proof that when the process is respected, the product doesn't need gimmicks. Peet's Coffee, one of the older players in the industry, has managed to maintain integrity in an era of over-commercialization. Their dark roasts are rich in antioxidants and brewed for flavor, not for sugar masking. What sets Peet's apart is its dedication to freshness. Beans are roasted weekly, ensuring that the natural compounds responsible for flavor and health benefits remain intact. They also provide alternative milk options like oat or almond milk without forcing you into sugary syrups. A black cup from Peet's gives you what coffee was meant to be: simple, strong, and sustaining. You can feel the difference after drinking it. Instead of a sugar high and crash, there's a slow, steady alertness that lasts for hours. It's the kind of energy that complements productivity rather than replacing sleep or balance. Phil's Coffee is another name that deserves recognition for its hands-on, personalized approach. While other chains automate every step, Phil's insists on brewing each cup individually. They don't serve standard espresso drinks at all. Instead, every coffee is customized to your taste: light, medium, or strong, with the sweetness and milk level exactly how you like it. This means you have control over what goes into your body. There's something mindful about watching your drink being made with that much care. Turns the process into a small ceremony instead of a transaction. Phil's also uses high-quality beans sourced from around the world, and their custom blends create complex flavors that don't need syrup to taste good. When your coffee is naturally satisfying, you stop craving the fake sweetness other brands rely on. La Colombe brings modern innovation to old-fashioned honesty. Their ready-to-drink draft lattes have become famous because they feel indulgent but are made with real ingredients. Just milk, beans, and a touch of cane sugar. There are no gums, stabilizers, or artificial flavors, and that simplicity makes a massive difference. These drinks are smoother, lighter, more balanced than most bottled coffees on the market. Their cafes maintain that same purity, focusing on freshly roasted beans and minimalist presentation. La Colombe's philosophy seems to say that coffee should be both delicious and clean, and they've proven that it can be. When you drink something this pure, you realize how unnecessary most of the additives in mainstream coffee really are. Intelligentsia Coffee has built its reputation on craftsmanship and ethical sourcing. They pioneered the idea of direct trade, where they buy beans directly from farmers, ensuring fair wages and better quality control. This direct connection to the source means they can focus on flavor complexity rather than mass production. Their coffee is often described as bright and layered, revealing new notes with each sip. The purity of the brew translates into how it makes you feel: clear-headed, calm and alert without jitters. Drinking Intelligentsia Coffee feels different because it's designed to support your focus rather than overload your system. The care they put into roasting and brewing reminds you that coffee is a natural product meant to enhance, not exhaust your body. Then there's Stumptown Coffee Roasters, a pioneer of the third wave coffee movement. Everything about Stumptown reflects attention to detail, from their organic sourcing to their roasting technique that preserves flavor and nutrients. Their cold brew is particularly famous for being incredibly smooth and low in acidity, which makes it easier on the stomach. Instead of the sharp, bitter taste that defines cheap coffee, Stumptown's drinks are balanced and rich. It's coffee that wakes you up without overwhelming your senses. For people who struggle with caffeine jitters or digestive issues, this kind of quality makes all the difference. It's proof that good coffee doesn't just taste better, it feels better. The unifying thread between these 6 chains is honesty. They don't hide behind whipped cream syrups or slogans. They focus on the core of what coffee is meant to be: pure, energizing, and restorative. Each one understands that health and flavor aren't enemies, they're partners. The more natural the process, the more your body benefits. These brands also represent a shift in how people are starting to think about coffee, not as an addiction, but as a ritual of mindfulness. When your morning cup is clean and consciously made, it sets the tone for the rest of your day. You're not just waking up your body, you're aligning your mind. The difference between these healthy coffee chains and their sugary counterparts isn't only about ingredients. It's about intention. Clean 6. Understand that coffee should serve you, not the other way around. It's about balance, not stimulation. A truly good cup doesn't spike your blood sugar or send your heart racing. It nourishes, stabilizes, and supports you from the inside out. The energy it gives is steady, the taste is authentic, and the ritual feels rewarding. Choosing one of these places is more than a health decision, it's a mindset shift. It's saying no to fake energy and yes to something real, something that wakes up both the mind and the spirit. Healthy coffee isn't just about where it comes from, it's about how it's made, processed, and served. Every step in the journey from bean to cup shapes how your body reacts to it. The science behind better coffee begins long before you take your first sip. The soil, the altitude, the roasting process, and even the milk you add, all of it matters. Most people assume coffee is just caffeine and water, but when handled properly, it's a complex nutritional compound filled with antioxidants, natural acids, and polyphenols that protect your body and brain. When mishandled, those same compounds can turn harsh, acidic, and inflammatory. The difference between a drink that gives you clarity and one that leaves you anxious or bloated lies entirely in how that coffee was crafted. Coffee starts with good beans. Organic, shade-grown beans tend to contain higher levels of antioxidants and less exposure to pesticides and mold toxins. Conventional mass-produced beans are often grown in conditions that rely heavily on chemicals, and those residues can make their way into your cup. Mold contamination, though rarely discussed, is one of the hidden problems of cheap coffee. When coffee beans are stored in humid or unsanitary conditions, they develop mycotoxins that can cause fatigue, brain fog, and digestive issues. Specialty roasters who prioritize freshness and storage quality eliminate most of those risks. That's why drinking from a clean, trusted source can feel different. You're not just avoiding toxins, you're fueling your body with cleaner energy. The roasting process is another major factor in how coffee affects your health. Light and medium roasts retain more of coffee's natural antioxidants, particularly chlorogenic acid, which has been linked to reduced inflammation and improved metabolism. Over-roasted beans, like those commonly used in large commercial chains, lose much of that benefit. The longer beans roast, the more their delicate compounds break down, turning rich nutrients into burnt flavors and bitterness. To mask that bitterness, companies add sugar, cream and flavored syrups, further stripping away the health potential of the drink. But when coffee is roasted carefully, the result is a beverage that energizes without overloading your system, giving a cleaner kind of alertness that lasts longer and feels lighter. The way coffee is brewed also plays a critical role. High-quality chains and home brewers often use methods like pour-over, French press, or cold brew, which preserve the natural oils and complexity of the beans without over-extracting bitterness. In contrast, most commercial machines rely on extreme pressure and pre-ground beans that have already oxidized, destroying subtle flavors and antioxidants. Over-brewed coffee tends to be acidic, which can irritate the stomach and trigger heartburn. Cold brew, on the other hand, extracts fewer bitter compounds and is up to 70% less acidic than traditional hot coffee, making it a better option for those sensitive to digestion issues. The brewing method doesn't just affect taste. It directly impacts how your body feels after you drink it. Additives are where most of the health benefits of coffee are either preserved or destroyed. The choice between organic milk, oat milk, or artificial creamers can completely change the nutritional profile of your drink. Sweetened creamers and flavored syrups are loaded with hydrogenated oils, corn syrup solids, and stabilizers that interfere with blood sugar balance. Even some plant-based milks contain emulsifiers like carrageenan and gums that can inflame the gut. A simple splash of organic milk or unsweetened almond milk can give the same creamy texture without the metabolic chaos. For those who like sweetness, a touch of raw honey or pure maple syrup offers natural sugars with trace minerals that the body can process more efficiently than refined sugar. Every ingredient added to coffee either helps your system work with it or forces your system to fight it. Caffeine itself is another misunderstood part of the equation. Moderation, it's a powerful stimulant that improves focus and alertness by blocking adenosine, the chemical responsible for drowsiness. But too much caffeine, especially from over-roasted or highly processed coffee, leads to cortisol spikes that create stress, anxiety, and eventual fatigue. Quality beans contain not just caffeine, but also compounds that help balance its effects. Natural antioxidants and minerals that stabilize energy levels. When coffee is brewed cleanly and consumed mindfully, it enhances mental clarity and even supports brain health over time. Studies show that clean coffee can improve mood and protect neural pathways, but the benefits are only consistent when the cup isn't drowned in sugar and chemicals. Temperature matters more than most people realize. Boiling hot coffee can irritate the stomach lining and destroy some of the beneficial compounds, while lukewarm or iced coffee retains more of the antioxidants. Drinking slowly rather than gulping allows caffeine to absorb more evenly, reducing the chances of spikes and crashes. A mindful coffee ritual, where you take time to savor the aroma and warmth, helps regulate stress hormones naturally. This slow consumption aligns with how caffeine works best, not as a jolt but as a steady release of mental energy. Ultimately, what makes healthy coffee different isn't just the bean or the method. It's the intention behind it. When a roaster or barista cares about the process, that care shows in every cup. The science proves that small differences in sourcing, roasting, brewing lead to massive differences in how your body processes caffeine and antioxidants. A mindful brew preserves nutrients, protects your gut, energizes your brain without stress. A careless one overwhelms your system and leaves you dependent on artificial boosts. The science of a better brew is really the science of balance. Harnessing coffee's natural power instead of abusing it. Coffee is more than a drink. For many people, it's a daily ritual, a moment of pause, a personal comfort that marks the rhythm of life. Yet somewhere along the way it turned into something mechanical, something consumed mindlessly between deadlines and commutes. The idea of coffee as a mindful ritual has been replaced by the habit of grabbing the largest cup available just to survive the day. But the truth is that coffee, when approached with awareness and care, can be one of the most grounding parts of your routine. The difference lies in intention. You can either let coffee control you, fueling stress and dependency, or you can use it to center yourself, to enhance focus and clarity in a balanced way. The coffee mindset is about bringing mindfulness back to something that's become automatic, turning your brew into a moment that restores rather than depletes you. The way most people drink coffee today is reactive. They wake up tired, reach for caffeine to function, and keep sipping through exhaustion. This constant cycle creates dependency rather than vitality. The body stops recognizing natural energy cues and starts relying on artificial stimulation. That's why so many people feel jittery after one cup but still need another by midday. The ritual becomes about survival, not enjoyment. But coffee, when consumed consciously, can be something entirely different. A tool to support your focus, stabilize your mood, and strengthen your relationship with your own body. The act of making coffee slowly, choosing the right beans, and taking time to taste it reminds you to slow down in a world that constantly demands speed. Choosing the right kind of coffee is the first step toward transforming this ritual. Chains that value quality over convenience create drinks that enhance rather than sabotage your health. When you sip coffee made from clean, organic beans without additives or refined sugar, you're nourishing your body with antioxidants that protect your cells and brain. Instead of an instant buzz followed by a crash, you get a gentle, sustainable lift. The difference might seem subtle at first, but over time it changes everything. You start noticing that your energy feels smoother, your thoughts clearer, your emotions steadier. This is the natural rhythm of caffeine when it's not masked by chemicals and processed ingredients. It works in harmony with your biology, not against it. Mindfulness in coffee drinking also extends to portion and timing. Coffee is most effective when it complements your natural energy curve rather than overriding it. Drinking it first thing in the morning, before your body fully wakes up, can interfere with cortisol production, the hormone responsible for natural alertness. Waiting an hour or two after waking allows your body to use its own rhythm before you introduce caffeine. The same goes for afternoon coffee. When used strategically, can lift focus without disturbing sleep, but if consumed too late, it disturbs rest and recovery. Learning how your body responds helps you use coffee as an ally rather than an anchor. The coffee mindset is not about restriction, it's about awareness, knowing when and how to use coffee for clarity instead of compulsion. The ritual around coffee also matters. Taking the time to prepare your drink with care, grinding beans, boiling water, pouring slowly, can turn it into a form of meditation. The aroma alone triggers calm and alertness in the brain, while the repetitive actions train focus and patience. When you drink it consciously, tasting the bitterness, feeling the warmth, noticing how it moves through your body, you begin to build a connection with what you consume. This kind of mindfulness turns a simple cup of coffee into a grounding experience that calms the nervous system rather than agitating it. You start to understand that the ritual itself, not just the caffeine, is what truly energizes you. On a psychological level, this shift has deeper benefits. When you approach coffee intentionally, you train your mind to be present with simple pleasures. Stop chasing the next fix and start appreciating the experience itself. That small moment of presence, watching steam rise, breathing deeply, taking a slow sip, anchors you in the moment before the rush of the day begins. Becomes a small act of self-respect in a world that constantly asks you to rush and multitask. In that sense, mindful coffee drinking mirrors self-discipline and self-awareness, the very principles of balance and mastery that extend far beyond what's in your cup. There's also a symbolic side to this ritual. Coffee can represent clarity. The moment you sit down with your cup, you have a chance to reset, to think clearly, to remind yourself of priorities. It becomes a container for reflection, not just consumption. The coffee mindset is about understanding that every sip is a choice. You can choose anxiety or you can choose awareness. You can drink to escape fatigue, or you can drink to enhance clarity. You can let marketing decide what goes into your body, or you can choose clean, simple ingredients that align with your values. Each decision reflects how you treat yourself, how you manage your energy, and how much control you maintain over your habits. When coffee is made with care and intention, it becomes a form of self-respect. It's no longer just a fuel but a practice of balance. Between stimulation and stillness, between focus and calm. The goal is not to quit coffee but to reclaim it, to make it something that serves your health, your mind, and your purpose instead of feeding dependency. When you slow down enough to appreciate what's in your cup, you begin to see that the real power of coffee has never been in the caffeine. It's in the consciousness it invites, the pause it creates, the presence it restores in a world that rarely allows stillness. Coffee, when treated as a ritual rather than a reflex, becomes a quiet act of mastery, one that starts with awareness and ends with balance.